By the time you get to a third movie in a trilogy, shouldn't it have a cool subtitle? Like Scream 3. Shouldn't it have been like Scream 3 Screamology? Or Scream 3 Scream Goes to Hollywood? Instead, we got Scream 3, the kind of bad one. I'm Alex from Sandro Says, and I'm here to take you on a trip back to 2000, when Scream 3 was fresh in theaters, and people didn't exactly know what to make of it. Please leave a like on the video, and let's get into it. Alright, so similar to what I did for my other Scream watch-throughs, this is not going to be a direct play-by-play of the whole movie. I'm not going to go through the plot necessarily. A lot of my notes will follow the plot, but I just want to talk about the general feel of the movie, my thoughts, my pluses, my minuses, and then at the end I'm going to talk about the weird production of this and why it came out so odd compared to the other two Scream movies. Scream 1 and Scream 2 came out in 96 and 97. They came out within a year of each other. They were produced very close to each other, had almost the exact same teams working on it. They have a very similar feel, even though they have different locations and stuff. They had some new characters. They have a very similar feel. This one is the first one in the series that feels a little different. And then it becomes a lot different as you get into it. So we start this movie off with a familiar face. We start with Cotton Weary, Liev Schreiber. He's there. He's in a car. He's arguing with his agent. Apparently he's become some kind of big Hollywood talk show gossip celebrity like he always wanted. And of course, Ghostface is after him. The reason is Ghostface wants to find Sidney. Sidney's in hiding, and I guess he figures Cotton knows where she is, whatever. So Ghostface terrorizes Cotton's girlfriend. It's not a great scene. There's some tension when the girlfriend's alone, I guess, but the entire tension for the movie is thrown out immediately when Ghostface is revealed to have a voice-changing voice box. So instead of just having the generic Robert Jackson voice like they had in the first two movies, now they can have that voice in addition to mimicking anyone's voice basically in the cast. So we've already jumped the shark. That technology still does not exist today, and now we're 25 years after, a whole quarter century after this movie, that technology still does not exist in the pocket form where you could just walk around and do it in real time without recording it and changing it. So it's a horrible thing to introduce. I don't know why they went that route. To jump the shark within the first 5 minutes in the movie is bold, and it doesn't work out for them. So Cotton gets killed, his girlfriend gets killed. You can't really tell if they find Sidney's location based on this, because it seems that Ghostface is still trying to get it out of people. We're shown Sidney, who actually has a believable setup after someone who's been tried to be killed twice now. She has like security out the wazoo and she's out in the middle of nowhere. That's really believable, and I'm happy to see that she's not just trying to live a normal life, or that she hasn't boarded herself up with shotguns like Laurie Strode. Like, she's just doing her thing, doing a remote job back in the day before remote jobs were common, and trying to stay alive. So big props to Sidney for that. Detective Kincaid is probably one of the better suspects as Ghostface, or suspects to potentially be Ghostface in the entire series. I think his red herring nature, the way he talks about things, the way he gets threatening when trying to tell Dewey, we need to find out about Sidney, we need Sidney to come here, the way he's kind of menacing at other times when he talks to people. He talks about how his life is a horror movie. Detective Kincaid, great red herring and great potential suspect, I think, especially in a rather dull movie of suspects. The other detective, by far my favorite character in possibly the series.
Detectives, there's no reason to presume that Cotton's death had anything to do with this movie, is there?
He was making a movie called Stab. He was stabbed.
Someone's trying to ruin my movie. Someone wants to kill my movie.
All right, we'll talk about your movie down at the station. Okay? All right, this is the scene where you come with us.
I have nothing else to say. He's just a great character. He's a lot of fun. I know it's a movie set, and it's a movie set on a movie set, but everything is just extra dull this time around. Everything's flatter. Everything's more wooden. The lighting is just flatter. It's not, dynamic. The people are these all feel like daytime TV actors that they've somehow brought onto the set, and it's not for the better. All the actors playing the Scream the movie people are forgettable, which is kind of a bummer. So, one is Jenny McCarthy, and she's the first one killed, and it shows just how important the year 2000 was, because Jenny McCarthy has been nowhere for a long time now. So it's almost like they killed her out of her career in this movie. Parker Posey, sorry, I said all that, and then I had a note after this. Parker Posey really helps make this movie for me. She is the only standout character in possibly not only that cast, but in the movie itself. So I'm really bummed that they kill her later on, but she stands out, and she does a great job. So at least she's kind of fun. And now, not only does this movie look like a soap opera and feel like one, but it's becoming one with this whole Dewey and Gale thing. Nobody cares about this. We're here for a murder mystery or something of the sort. Them having relationship problems every movie is just... who cares? Why is this becoming a concept? And it eats up a lot of time in this movie. In this movie, Sidney Prescott is basically a tertiary character, a secondary character. Neve Campbell was off filming other movies at the time, so they only had her for like less than half of production, and it shows. So Dewey and Gale have to carry this movie, and they can't. They're not that exciting as a couple, and their problems don't resonate. So I like when Gale flips off the camera after she sees Jay and Silent Bob, because it's like the film is acknowledging that it hates us as viewers, and it's just, it's just shitting on us. So that's kind of cool. Thank you, film, breaking the fourth wall. Again, realistic Sydney, wary of not hiding when she's talking to her dad, and she's like, I don't want to come out of hiding. They can't kill what they can't find. That's pretty realistic. You feel bad for her. She's had her life changed since she was like 17 years old or 16 when her mom got killed. It's like, this is it's sad to see this is what's happening, but it is realistic. The voice changer, again, it trades scares for silliness, where it's like they'll have one person on the phone and they're faking out, we're talking about the script, but it's not me. Like, there used to be genuine tension when they were stalking people and scaring them. Now it's like, we'll call you up, we'll pretend to be someone else, and then at the last second I'll change my voice and pop out and kill you. That's not that scary. I'm sorry, that's just not for me. I love Patrick Warburton in this. He pops up, he's very stoic, he doesn't have a lot of scenes, he clearly is antagonistic towards Dewey, keeps calling him Dewdrop, but otherwise he's at least someone that you can like in this movie, although they kill him pretty quickly. And I think it's a great reference to the 3 scripts from Scream 2, when Kincaid says that there are, Gale isn't necessarily the next person that dies. There are 3 scripts. They had 3 scripts to avoid leaks on the internet. So at least they're referencing that stuff. So I'm not sure how the killer found Sidney. They're not really clear on that. Is it possible that Cotton had notes and I just missed that when I looked down to write something? I don't know if Cotton had a file that said where Sidney lives. I don't know why he would even have that file. Why would the police help Sidney hide and then give it to people? That makes no sense at all. So I don't know how the killer found her, and if the killer did find her through Cotton, then that's stupid. Angelina is scared by this actor friend of hers ripping paper. Like, she's just odd. I know that in other scripts we'll talk about later, she was meant to be one of the killers, but she is just a bizarre character. Like, if they weren't going to make her the killer, they really should have edited this and had her act a little different here. She keeps, like, running off for no reason. So I know it's to add red herrings, but you can't add red herrings. You can't film someone as the killer and at the last second change them and say, well, I guess they're now they're a red herring. It's like, that's kind of cheap. The Maureen Prescott thing is just a distraction. I don't really care about that. I don't care about this stuff they're dredging up and making a big deal, even though she's been dead for 2 movies now. Like, the zombie Maureen, I don't even know what to say to that. That's, these movies had always been kind of in the realistic thing, and now you're having zombie nightmares and stuff. I can't get behind that. Then you have this ridiculous scene where Randy's sister... Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Pardon me, I almost jumped ahead. These things are more silly, and they're more funny than scary. Like, they're reading the script in the darkness, and they're running around the different rooms in the house. It's like vaudeville. And then the house blows up. It's like, I know the guy blew up, but no one else feels in danger. Like, that those other characters are basically dead, and the main characters are going to survive, because this is the 3rd movie, and those other characters, nobody cares about them. So it's, when the house blows up, it's like, all right, cool, whatever. There's a nice blow-up scene, nice effects scene, I guess. Okay, so anyway, then we get to Randy's sister. Randy's sister pops up out of nowhere on the movie lot. I don't know how she got through security. She's there just to be the Randy surrogate for this movie, so she hands a tape that Randy supposedly filmed on the last day he was alive. It's like, did they realize that they wanted Jamie Kennedy back, and they're like, oh shit, we killed him. Well, let's have him film something and pretend he talks about trilogies. Because then he talks about trilogies, and this is supposedly a movie nerd, a movie expert, a guy that worked at a Blockbuster. And he says it's a rarity in the horror field for a trilogy. It's like, what are you talking about? Off the top of my head, I can think of, like, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Leprechaun, the baby, what's the Driller Killer movies? I forget what they're called. The Babysitter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every horror series goes to 3 movies, especially by the year 97 when he died. So that's just a really ridiculous statement for him to make. I don't know what they were thinking when they said that. After that ridiculousness, then at least they pair Parker Posey up with Gale. So it's not just Gale and Dewey farting around again like it usually is. At least Parker Posey's there to add some humor, some color to these proceedings, because otherwise this is just a drab movie at this point. We're just going through it saying, okay, we're knocking people off. Let's get to the killer. At the 1 hour mark, there's a scene in this movie where Dewey looks at Officer Kincaid's partner. There's no context. There's no reason for it. It's beautiful. I'm just going to show it here. I have no idea what's going on. What was that? Anyway. Okay, so now we get introduced again to Lance Henriksen, who is apparently the director or owner of the studio or whatever the hell. He's some bigwig. He's meant to be like a Weinstein fill-in, kind of, which is even weirder when they made it known that he's a creep later in the movie, and he had all these weird sex parties to, abuse women and, convince women they would get parts in Hollywood if they got traded by men in power, like this horrible stuff, and it's like Weinstein approved this to be in his movie, and when that was basically him, that's all right. Roman Bridger is the director of Stab 3 or Stab 2 or whatever the hell we're on, and he is such a nothing character. He's whiny. We don't know what he's there for. We have no motivation. He just seems to say, oh, they're going to kill my movie. So when he's wandering around, then it's his birthday party and he's drunk. It's like something is just off with this character. The other ones are too boring. This one, he's making a scene of himself. So I didn't know what that was about. Again, there's no tension because the people, when they break up and walk around, we know who's going to survive and who isn't. So that's just, I can't say I love that. I think it's quite possibly the worst final scene and worst reveal in all of the movies, because Roman Bridger not only fakes his death when he's walking around the mansion alone, and they look at his pulse and say, oh, he's actually dead, but then he comes back to life, he's Ghostface, and he's Sidney's brother. Now, there was no hint earlier or in any of the other movies to there being a brother to Sidney. So if they were to give crumbs to this, breadcrumbs leading us to this conclusion, then it's a bigger reveal. When you just all of a sudden at the end say, oh yeah, I'm your brother. I'm your half-brother Sid, and she didn't want me, so I killed her and orchestrated all this. It's really, like, everything crashes together in a really unsettling way. It's like, so Stu and Billy weren't really behind things in the first movie. Roman told them what to do, and in the second movie, he kind of just waited. He said, well, I'll let her go to school now. I won't bother things. I tried once. I'll give her like 5 years, and I'll try again. I won't bother her college. That's not fair. I don't understand it. It's not fulfilling. The actor is not really like a great actor for this. He seems like he keeps saying, I'm a director, Sid, I direct. It's corny, and I don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. Of all the movies, I thought on the rewatches I was actually going to like Scream more than I like some of the later movies, and I'm pretty sure Scream 3 is really just at the bottom now. I don't know how I can redeem this movie. So somehow Wes Craven directed this. Now, it's not necessarily his fault that it went this way. Kevin Williamson was not involved. The studio wanted Scream 3 done, and Kevin Williamson was off doing other projects, so they rushed into production with Aaron Kruger doing the writing. He had 6 weeks to come up with a script, and the script had a lot of limitations because, sadly, in April '99, Columbine happened. The Columbine high school shooting. It's very sad. Obviously, way more important than anything that happens in Hollywood was what happened that day, and it's unfortunate. But the repercussions of that, the ripple effect of that, was that people were looking for excuses for why people did things, why bad people do things. It's been an excuse for years, like the D&D scares in the 80s, and even Billy and Stu reference, movies making serial killers more creative and stuff, but they don't make serial killers, they just make them more creative. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There were a lot of movies that had toned things down and changed things, and Scream was the biggest one. Scream was originally going to have Stu, the killer from the first one. Scream 3 was originally going to have Stu, the killer from the first one, masterminding high school killers from jail. So he was in jail, and he was masterminding some plot to get back at Sidney. It was going to take place in Woodsboro, and it was going to be very different. There was still going to be a movie getting filmed and drawing Sidney out of hiding, but it was vastly different. They had to take it out of a small town and put it into L.A. because they didn't want it to be a small town rocked by a massacre. They had to change it. They didn't want any high school kids involved. They didn't want any reference to older movies where someone was masterminding kids getting involved, so Stu was written out. Or not even written in, rather, I should say. So the movie went through a lot of changes in a short amount of time to rush it out. And you can see it. They originally were going to have two killers, where it was going to be Roman and Angelina, and they left all the scenes, like I said, in the movie of Angelina appearing to be the killer, like hiding in the bathroom stall. And it just, there's no reason for her to do that if she's not the killer. So it's a very unfulfilling ending and a very unfulfilling movie, unfortunately, and it ended up killing the series for like 11 years. So the irony was they rushed out a movie and they had to get it out less than a year after Columbine happened, whereas if they took a couple of years, they might have been able to time it up with everyone's schedule, get Sidney on the movie for the whole time, you know, get Kevin Williamson, Wes Craven would have been available. It might have turned out a much different story. But what we got instead is a movie with a couple memorable moments, a couple memorable heroes or characters or whatever, but it's mostly a drab, bad mark on the Scream franchise. Whereas the first two stand up pretty high, the third one immediately knocks it down. And it's one of those movies where it was becoming what it parodied in Scream 1, so now it turned off the public to Scream, and then they went towards more realistic horror, or not realistic, but that found footage type stuff, you know, and remakes of horror like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. So it's interesting how Scream started in 96 as this revitalization, and by 2000 was part of the ushering in of the next generation because of how bad it was. So let me know what you think in the comments of Scream 3 and the Scream trilogy in general. I'm going to be covering Scream 4 next week. This is officially the halfway point through my Scream retrospective as we get towards Scream 7. So I've done movies on 1 and 2, and we have 4, 5, and 6 coming up. So please let me know what you'd like to see and what you'd like mentioned. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.